anyway.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the baseball parallels because you had an interesting one about the repetitions. And that's really been in broadcasting a lot for me, that I do the podcast weekly because at the end of the year, I'm going to have 52 tries at it. Or when somebody asks me to go on a podcast or another show, now I have 52 practice lessons. So even if nobody listens to this show, I'm still learning, I'm still practicing, I'm getting another rep in. And then when those big things happen, I'm ready for it. And I'm thinking in baseball, I'm sure you had enough of like the fans or the audience there where you're getting reactions, and some fans like you and some fans don't. And you had to get over that, I'm sure, of before you even entered broadcasting, of like, okay, like you already said, you mentioned that one, but are there other baseball parallels or things that you found like that you learned in playing baseball? Because that's part of what this show is about, that play is not just frivolous. In play, we learn a lot of really great things that make us perform better. How has that worked out for you?
Oh yeah. I think, well, the Ripken name that we started with, expectations, no matter what I was going to do, it was never going to be
good
a
low bar, Ryan, and you were not born into that. Yeah.
So that
comes with a lot of gifts, I'm sure, but low expectations are not one of them.
When I was, I had a scout day when I was I transferred from South Carolina to a junior college, and then I was going to go to Wake Forest. In the process, before going to Wake, I got drafted and signed with the Washington Nationals in 2014. At my scout day, or at Indian River State College in Fort Pierce, Florida, go Pioneers. I remember I had a great day. I went 3 for 3. I think got a home run, a double. And the scout said to my coach, as I overheard it, he goes, "Is that all?" I was expecting more from him. And my coach said, "Well, what did you want him to do else?" He goes, "Well, I just imagine his dad as an MVP." And I go, "Well, okay, that makes sense." And after that, no matter what I was going to do, it was never going to be looked at the same light as what my father accomplished, because the points that you made, I never saw the struggles that he went through when we were younger, but most people then in that case didn't. They focused more on where he got to. So where I'm going with this is the parallels of expectation and focusing on what you can control. I think that was my biggest thing. And that bothered me for a while with playing. And quite frankly, I wish I could say, oh, I did a great job of that. The truth is, guilty. I didn't do that as well. I got in my head. I got frustrated easily, and I let other people sometimes dictate my course of action. And my course of action is, what can I do to either fix a mistake, get back to work, and also block out other issues? And that's where I'm going to the broadcasting space. I am not going to be everyone's first choice. I might not be anybody's any choice, but that should not take me off my path. If I'm committed to it, which I am, I'm going to continue on it. And the only person I'm competing with is myself. Not going to make my expectations, focus on you, see if I can beat myself from the next day. And if I can continue to get better each day, then at the end of the day, it's going to turn out well. But as a baseball player, did I think that? Absolutely not. And I wish that I did, instead of maybe listening to fans out there heckling me because I threw a ball into the stands and it cost us the game. And actually that one I remember clear as day. It was a rainy game. If I just make the play, throwing it to the pitcher at first base, we win. I airmail it, and the team scores 2 runs. We lose by 1. But before that game ended, all I could hear was how disappointing I was to these fans because I made that mistake. And I guess things they stick with you. But it also helped fuel me.
Okay. I learn a lot from those failures too. And I've had bombs. They're not, throwing a baseball, but, throwing a joke out there on the radio or something. And it turns out that it's not that funny. You're like, oh, that's not what I intended at all. I didn't think about it that way, but that's interesting. I learned a lesson there. And some of those things are really great, but I love the lesson you highlighted because I think it applies to everybody. And now I get to compare myself to Cal Ripken Jr., which is awesome. Go. But I know you're tired of that, but for me, that's a fun thing. This is a new one. I get that in podcasting or in especially on stage a lot when I host or I am seeing an event. People say, "Oh, you're such a natural up there," and you go, "Well, yeah, but you're seeing me after like 5,000 performances." So trust me, my first one was not natural at all. It was a disaster.
Well, that's why
I think that's what you're saying is people remember and they envision your dad as an all-star. They don't envision him as a first-year rookie or in AAA, airmailing one over the first baseman's head. He did that too, right? It's just people don't remember that.